Hey everyone, MJ here. You guys know me. I'm not a big self-promoter. I'm just not good at it. I don't really, it's not my thing. But I always wanted to do like this really big introduction. So let me just try this and see what happens, okay? Get all ready here. Okay, here we go. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer in the world. Here he is, MJ Klein. Hey everyone, MJ here. I want to thank you so much for...
You think so?
No, I don't think so. I think you're the greatest live streamer in the world, and I'm actually very sorry I said that. Okay, let's try this again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer in Taiwan. Here he is, MJ Klein. Hey guys, it's MJ. Thank you so much for joining.
MJ? Really? Since when?
Since never, actually. Okay, let's try again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer from Hsinchu, Taiwan. Here he is, MJ Klein. Hey everyone, it's MJ. Thank you so much for joining.
In your dreams, MJ. In your dreams.
Oh, and my dreams are... they're shattered. Okay, one more time. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the greatest live streamer in Hsinchu County, in Hukou Township, in the Hsinchu Industrial Park, in this particular neighborhood, and on this block. Please welcome MJ Klein. Hi everyone. I'm the greatest live streamer sitting out here on this bench. How you guys doing? All right, nice to see you, J-Boy, Mike. Thank you so much for joining. I always wanted to do a big introduction like that, and I just, never had it. So let me show you where I'm at. I'm gonna go on the back camera. So yeah, that's a light pole right there, and you see the seat of my bike. I'm actually on like this really cool. That's I'm glad, J-Boy. I've been working on that for a long time, and I just have been putting it off, and I finally finished it. But yeah, I finished it today, and I'm out here in the actually right around the corner from my house on a really nice little road here, and I'm sitting at a beautiful bench. I got my clamp on it. It's moving a little bit. I got a nice plant behind me. But of course we have, the great Dave and Osaka and Jevons, and of course Casper. Everybody knows those guys, and they were very, gracious. They didn't know what I was going to do. I told them I was going to work on something, and they just made those videos for me. I asked them, I told them basically like, the subject. So yeah, they're actually concrete bricks, and they don't have any grouting. I watched them do it. They put down they put down a bed of stone, like 1.25 inch stone. Fist bump to you, Ken. They put down like 1.25 inch stone, and then they put down sand, and then they just tamped it in. Jan, how you doing? Fist bump to you. Gosh, everybody coming in. I feel like maybe I should do that introduction again, but maybe I'll show it later. But yeah, that was those big YouTubers, they got these big, huge, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer that ever walked on the face of planet Earth, and that kind of stuff. And I was just kind of being hysterical facetious about it. So. All right, now I'm not using my gimbal. I have my gimbal with me, but it's in the bag, and I got my light and stuff. But there's an overhead light here. It's a little bit harsh, but it's leaving some, you know, I guess you can't unsee those now, but I suppose if I really wanted to, I could. Well, I got another light here. You just have to let me know what you think, because whether it's worth it or not. Get over here. Okay, so you guys remember Thula, right? Thula is from Sri Lanka and has that restaurant. And since we've been, you know, locked down in COVID and level 3 and all that, I haven't been back there, and he just hasn't been open. He hasn't been, you know, I haven't had any Sri Lankan curry the whole time. But okay, so this is the light, and I guess it's kind of bright. I'll hold it down here like this. I think it's okay. Hey, Frank, how you doing? All right. Yeah, well, you know, trying to find the best. Maybe I should just turn it off. You know, we never, I think I'll just leave it down here. We never stop masks completely. Does that actually help? I guess it does a little bit, but it does kind of puts a, nah, never mind. Problem is I'm trying to be like in a studio. You know, in Asia, we wear masks all the time. I've been wearing masks. I've been traveling in Asia since 2000 maybe. And yeah, and we wear masks all the time, you know. And so what's really funny is I'll see movies, okay, you know, Western movies, and somebody will walk in the door and I'm like, take your shoes off, get over there, you know, put on your slippers and stuff. And it's like, so I realize how much of a culture shock I have. But I went back to the States in 2018. I wore a mask. I mean, I took masks with me in my man bag. I got on the, you know, I got out of the cab to go to the airport, and as soon as I, you know, walked in the airport, man, I had my mask on. I wore it all the way through, you know, wherever I stopped, I only took it off. I had a layover in Dallas Fort Worth. Actually, my flight got canceled. I had to spend the night in Dallas Fort Worth airport for no good reason. I didn't wear a mask all the way through, but I would now. But back in 2018 I didn't, but when I got on the next plane I did, and I wore it right to my destination. We wear masks all the time and nobody even thinks about it. Like, there's a woman over here right now. It's 23:38, so it means it's 42 minutes until midnight. There's a woman over here that's exercising. She's jump roping, and there's some exercise equipment there she's using. She's wearing a mask. Not like this. She's wearing a cloth one. Now I don't know if you noticed this, I have a structure on the inside, a plastic structure. And what it does is it prevents the mask from crushing on your nose. Because when you do exercise, or it gets, you know, hot and sweaty, and you breathe, right, it goes in and out, right? But this prevents it from crushing on your face, which is annoying. And that's why a lot of people don't like masks. And you hear the whole thing like, I can't breathe and all this stuff, which is not true. But top of the morning to you too, Frank. I appreciate you stopping in. Eggs, home fries, kielbasa, OJ. Whew. Sounds good to me. You know, I want to touch on that in just a second. But yeah, I mean, the problem is, yeah, I guess that's a good way to call it, a mask brace, yeah. And I got 2 of them in a package for like $3 or something. There's all kinds of different models of it, and I've shown you guys this kind of stuff before, right? I actually have, like, this is a mask minder. This is my backup mask. I've used it a couple of times if I go outside and forget the mask and I don't have the, you know, the lanyard on it. If I just, sometimes I'll just, even though I'm used to it, I'll walk out without it. I've got this in my bag and I just pop this open. You take the ear hooks off and you can see that it basically is in a plastic, so it protects really the environment from the contaminated mask. But I also have, and because it's Taiwan and everything's cute, from 7-Eleven, I have these are the 7-Eleven characters like Lock Jong and Open Jong, and all these characters have names and stuff. But basically what it is, oh, there's a Joiga Pop Pow. This is the one. Oh, that's where that was. Yeah, oh, like the Naked Gun. Oh, he was innocent. Yeah, so that's just a receipt. But basically this is just a wallet, and I have a bunch of masks in here, and I even have a red one, because you guys know I like, I like cool color masks. I had red and orange, and these are kind of a deep blue, but you carry this stuff with you, carry it in my man bag. But about breakfast, the funny thing is I love breakfast foods, but I've had mixed feelings about breakfast itself for a long time, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me address what J-Boy is saying here. Yeah. No, that's normal. See, people want to get back to normal. They do, and that's perfectly reasonable and normal, but here's the thing. I read a really in-depth article about the 1918 pandemic, which was, of course, the Spanish flu. And it came in waves. It took 3 years for it to go away. It came in waves, because guess what, guys? There were variants. Now, back then there were no vaccines. So politicians and doctors are trying to make people feel guilty for not being vaccinated, and they're saying that you're causing, hey Gallardo, how you doing? Fist bump to you. You're causing, the variants. No, this is what viruses do. Doesn't matter what you do, that's what they do all the time. They mutate all the time. That's what they do. You can't stop them. So it's coming in waves, and so when I'm going to say this. Authority and capability. Yeah, it does look like that. Authority and capability. Authority and competence. Most of the time, they do not intersect. What I mean by that is you'll find many people who are in authority. These people have the authority to make decisions, but they're incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. They don't really have the expertise, but they're in a position to make the decision. And so you've got a lot of authoritative persons, authoritative people in government that are giving medical advice, and it's getting lost in the translation. See, we used to say in the record business, I used to say, I don't take business advice from my lawyer, and I don't take legal advice from my manager. You know what I mean? And so if a politician goes on TV and says, well, once you get the vaccine, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. Okay, well, thank you very much for your opinion. I'm going to continue to do whatever I think I should do to protect myself, but the problem is it's been politicized. So now there's a certain drug that begins with the letter I. It's now been debunked as a right-wing conspiracy theory. Hey Matthew, even though there are 60, peer-reviewed studies that show that it works. So there are people right here in Taiwan that I know that said, oh, it's right wing, and they dismiss it. My doctor looked at the data, and my doctor said everybody in Taiwan should take this medicine. That's what he said. So again, you know, do you take medical advice from a politician? Do you take medical advice from a person who writes newspaper articles for a living? Or do you take medical advice from a doctor? Or do you take medical advice from a live streamer? No. Don't take medical advice from me. Especially me. Now, speaking of all this stuff, I just want to mention this because all this cancel culture that's been going on, and it really, really makes me mad. I started a forum called the Pandemic.community. It is a politically free, censorship-free platform. The only thing that you will get censored for is giving advice, you know, telling other people what to do or harassing other people. But what it's for is for people to tell their story, because, you know, people just want to be heard. And Frank, I'm getting back to the breakfast. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about that. People want to be heard, you know. And there's a guy. I mean, we only have maybe half a dozen users who signed up, but there's a guy who calls himself COVID-19 survivor, and he talks about what happened to him, and then it's just, and people need to be able to say things, you know, and say what they want to say, and they don't have to give opinions. They can say, here's what I think for me is good for me. I want to do this. I want to take the vaccine. I don't want to take the vaccine. I want to investigate an alternative. I don't want to investigate an alternative. There's nothing wrong with saying these things, but some people want to make you think that it's wrong. See, it's really amazing because you guys know that I'm a man of faith, and one of the things that impressed me about Almighty God Himself is that you can question Him. Is it really true that you would kill all the people in Sodom and Gomorrah, over 50 unrighteous people? I mean, Abraham got him down like to 10. It was amazing. And so there's nothing wrong with asking questions respectfully, and there's nothing wrong with discussions respectfully. But when they get disrespectful and they get out of hand, that's when it's a problem. It's when I have a problem with it, and that's when I usually just bow out, you know, say stuff like, you know what, I guess I'm all done because you're not being respectful. And the other thing too is if you're having a discussion and somebody doesn't have a leg to stand on, as they say, somebody doesn't have a position where they're dealing from strength, they're dealing from weakness because they don't really know what they're talking about or whatever, and they resort to personal attacks, then it's time to quit. But now what I started to say was, you know, for years and years, I never ate breakfast. And I'm talking like maybe 35 or 40 years, I never ate breakfast. It's really strange. Now, here's what happened. Went to Laos in 2010 with Michael Turton and Michael Cannon, and we met a friend of ours, Frank Sheldon, and he's a diplomat. And he was working at the U.S. Embassy in Laos. We actually stayed at his house, which is cool. It was an embassy house, you know, with a guard and all that. It was pretty cool. And Frank's thing was he loved Lao breakfast. And Lao breakfast is mostly like a soup with dumplings or noodles and, you know, cilantro and stuff. And it's got, you know, some oil on the top from the meat and so forth. And the interesting thing is they have what they call oil bread, which is a deep fried kind of a breadstick. It's pretty cool. And, you know, I mean, I sat there and didn't eat anything. I went all these places, I've been to like 10 countries, and I would just sit there and just like not eat breakfast because for some weird reason, the thought of eating in the morning made me nauseous. Now, have you guys experienced that? I would get up in the morning, and I mean, years ago, when I was in my 20s and in the studio business and into my 30s, I wouldn't even have anything to drink in the morning except water if I was thirsty, from overnight. These days, I take a water bottle upstairs to my bedroom and I put it on the nightstand, and I frequently drink water throughout the night. But back then I would just wake up. So no, I ate one meal a day for like 35 or 40 years. I would eat dinner only if I felt like it. Sometimes I would skip it. Sometimes though, I would eat lunch, because I worked in a factory, and there was a really, really nice lady, and she would make some stuff for me, and I used to really enjoy having nice conversations with her. But I did at one point have a big lunch and no dinner. See, Matthew, you're saying what I felt. I gotta get my lip balm. It's driving me nuts. The humidity here is crazy. Yeah, see, when you're in school, you feel sick, you have breakfast. Yeah, okay, so you know what I'm talking about. But I was an adult, but I can relate to that, okay? So, it was my wife, really, that got me into breakfast again. But now here's the thing. I love traditional, at least from the Western, and I'm from the United States, so I have the the U.S. kind of view, which is funny because my brother came here and we're eating bacon and cabbage, and he goes, "This is not real bacon." I go, "Actually, that is real bacon. What the rest of the world calls bacon, that hickory smoked sugared abomination stuff that you have in the United States, that's not bacon." But it's funny because I'm going to digress. America has what they call Canadian bacon. The truth is what America eats should be called American bacon, and everything else should just be called bacon, because that's what it is. So anyway, so my wife is the one that got me into breakfast, and I don't actually even really remember how it happened, but I remember that sometimes I get up really early in the morning. Well, if you're saying that as one matures, we start looking at food as fuel instead of pleasure, for me personally, that's not the case, because I never eat according to a clock. And all right, Ken, thank you so much. Got to go eat breakfast. Thank you. And I never eat if I'm hungry, but there's nothing that I like. Do you know what I'm saying? I know people that will take, and because this used to happen in the States, I know somebody that will take like a pack of bland noodles and just boil them, and put like a spoonful of hot sauce on them and eat those. And I'm like, what are you doing? Hey, Anti, how you doing? Yeah, fasting is good. Yes, definitely good. And we talked about that before. Got my lip balm on. Oh yeah. But I love breakfast foods, and so I would eat pancakes for dinner. I would eat scrambled eggs, and I like scrambled eggs not too dry, or a little bit wet with with cheese and everything, and I would eat all these breakfast foods at night, especially bacon. But I went to Costco, and Costco has products by a Taiwan company called Futong, and they got some great meat products. They got some unbelievable smoked ham, and they got these huge I guess you would call them a flat of bacon, in dual packs. And man, I just I grabbed those and threw them in the freezer. And so I'm here like I get up in the morning now, and this is crazy. I'll put my 8-inch Dutch oven on the gas range and preheat it. I'll put just a touch of like rice bran oil in it, just to, just to get it going. Throw some garlic in there, and I'll throw probably about 3/4 of a pound of bacon in there. I may or may not chop it up. I crack 6 eggs into a bowl and make sure there's no yucky stuff in there, or I'm not dumb. I did something dumb like put like like some shell in there. I hate those little bloody things and stuff there in the eggs. So I always crack them in a bowl so I can take that yucky stuff out, right? And so I'll get the bacon and I'll brown the bacon with the garlic, and sometimes I'll put green onion, or sometimes I'll put white onion in my Dutch oven, and then I'm stir frying it, over the heat, and believe me, I've done this many times over a campfire, and it is just off the charts. It's unbelievable. But I take the Dutch oven into the, on the gas range, right? And then pour the eggs in, and then I immediately put like about a metric ton of grated cheese on top. And then I put the lid on and I turn the heat down and I just let it go. And like 5 minutes later, the eggs are what we call in Chinese banso, which means half cooked. They're runny. And the cheese is melted. And man, I don't even take it out of the Dutch oven. I just put a big like cork, insulator down, right? And I put the Dutch oven on the table, so. I'm not sure what you mean. Which episode time? I'm not sure what you mean. But anyway, I go up and down. My weight's higher again, so I'm gonna fast tomorrow some. But what had happened was, and I started to talk about this, and it's okay. You guys interrupted, it's fine, and it's good for my memory, to keep going back and picking up where we left off. There was a place. It's gone now. You mean which stream have I done about fasting? Oh gosh, I've done a lot, and maybe you might have to look and see if I have something about that in the title. Not really sure. So anyway, nutritious food is, that's the key. But the problem is nutritious food in the United States of America is almost impossible to find, because in the 30s the FDA declared farmland in the United States to be depleted. That's why you got to take colloidal minerals. If you're not taking a liquid colloidal mineral that has at least 60 trace elements, including rare earths like europium and things like that, then you're not doing yourself any favors. And that's why guys like me that are 65 years old and have like almost no wrinkles, that's why, because I'm taking those kind of supplements. Really, seriously, man, seriously. The farmlands in Taiwan are not depleted, and we have all kinds of vegetables here that are just, they're just off the charts. And you guys have seen this. We talked about this, like dragon mustache and the hollow vegetable and all these vegetables that we have here. And I could easily be a vegetarian in Taiwan, easily. But I'm not. But yeah, it's really, really something. But getting back to what had happened was, sometimes I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Other nights I'm going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, because it depends on the studio thing. See, I don't have I have no more internal clock. I have nothing that tells me I need to go to bed at a certain time. That just doesn't exist, because my living in, in in the Boston area, in the music business and in radio, because in radio, you know, you have to go out at midnight, because that's when you can take radio stations off the air, is at midnight, or that's when you can do testing. So I did so much work between like midnight and 6 a.m. and studio work and stuff, and then sometimes I would be on a day schedule in the same week. But what I started doing was taking my Surface Pro with me down to this breakfast shop, and they're out of business. I can't stand it. It's terrible. But I would go there and I would ask them for an omelet, and I said, 4 eggs, 4 orders of bacon, 4 orders of cheese, and an omelet, and this thing would come out. It was like this big, and I got pictures of it. I just don't have it, here to show you. And I gotta tell you, I would drizzle that hot oil, you know what I'm talking about, the hot chili oil on that thing, and I would do my, look at my emails, and I would do some designs, some vector designs in Affinity Designer with my Surface Pen and stuff, and just have a blast for an hour and a half eating this breakfast thing, and I like that a lot. Now there's a new place, a couple doors down, it's new to me, but there's a lady there, she's really super nice, and the people in my neighborhood, I'm a foreigner, and it's a big deal being a foreigner here. It's not like in America where everybody's different, and you walk up to somebody and you go, "Ooh, you're Asian." They're like, yeah, so probably 5th generation, right? But here sometimes you walk up, "Oh, you're a foreigner," so, whatever. But in my neighborhood, they don't do that, and this lady is really, really nice. And I'll just go in there and I tell them I want. You say amutan, for an omelet, right? And she'll just say, "What do you want?" And I'll just say cheese and bacon. And she'll say, "How much do you want?" And I just say, "Hey, door," like that. In you're probably laughing your head off. But it just means like, a bunch, right? And she'll make me this monster omelet that will keep me, like feeling satisfied from food. It's for like the next 12 hours. It's amazing. So that's been interesting. But the last couple of weeks, I think I've got the Dutch oven out probably 6 or 7 times, and I do have a frying pan. I need to get a cast iron skillet. They're hard to find here, and they're expensive, which is kind of ironic because we run a company called Asian Castings, asiancastings.com, and we do castings, and I could cast with cast iron. I could cast frying pans and Dutch ovens all day. I just haven't done it. So now I'm sitting next to one of the largest apartment buildings in this whole area, and I can't tell you how many apartments are. What I have to do is I would have to count the air conditioners, but just on the first floor it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. There's got to be like 100 apartments there. So ground yeah. Actually, there must be a huge lag, because I'm guessing, Frank, that you posted that message about 4 minutes ago. Yeah. You want to know what's interesting here, though? The local 7-Eleven has some of the best coffee I've ever had. You can get what we call the Tape, the extra large cup. It's 70 NT, which is like about $2.20, and it's a latte, with real fresh, steamed milk in it. It's unbelievable. It's really amazing. All right, so now we've been online, we've been on the air for like 36 minutes, and I would like to go back and play the introduction again, because I did this thing today, and I had the cooperation of 3 of the major live streamers that you guys know. All right, let me read this, okay? No. That's too much. You can get a battery in Taiwan for a lot cheaper than that. You know what, Mike? I'd be willing to bet you $1 that if you put your Surface Pro 4 in the postal mail and sent it to me, and I took it over to Nova and had them put, you know, like an equivalent replacement battery in it and send it back to you postal mail, it would be cheaper. That's what I'm thinking. It's crazy. Take care, Frank. Thank you so much, and have a really, really great time. Those sunny days, man. I remember that. You know, New England is a beautiful place, and I don't miss the nasty drivers, but I sure miss, you know, Franconia Notch and the White Mountains in New Hampshire, and I miss the Green Mountains in Vermont, and I miss all my friends in Mass, but it is what it is. But what I like to do is I like to play this video again that I played earlier, because I got the cooperation of 3 of the most famous and beloved live streamers in the world, and it was great. And I feel really blessed, you know, to know these live streamers, and that they even like pay attention to me or bother with me, you know, because sometimes I think maybe I'm just like we say in Chinese, time off on. I'm just too much trouble. But before I do that, please, if you have any inclination at all to tell your story about COVID-19, or you just want to vent and say things, you know, get off your chest, please go to the pandemic community. And also, livestreaming.technology is a forum that I also started for live streamers and for viewers. So it's not just for content creators, although content creators are there. It's for people who want to talk about and discuss live streaming technology, or just interact, you know, with their favorite live streamers. And so when I finally get around to finishing the JTS JS1P microphone review, I'm absolutely going to put it on livestreaming.technology. But one thing that I want you to understand is, when I play this video again, I actually got a new arm. You know, the arm that kind of like holds the microphone. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a right angle. Anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about. I got a new microphone boom and an arm, a broadcast style mount, and this thing is really great. Yeah, but you know something, Mike? That doesn't daunt Taiwanese, because I have an older, remember the Galaxy S7 Edge? Remember that? All right, well, I went to Nova, and this is before I bought my Xiaomi 9T Pro phone to replace it. You know, the battery goes south, and you know, it doesn't hold a charge for very long, and so forth. But otherwise, the device works fine, and that's what you're experiencing now, right? So I went there and I said, how much for the battery? And he told me, and it was extremely competitive. He said, but I need 3 hours to do it, because I have to take a heat gun and I have to heat the back so the glue gets soft. Then I have to pop it off, and I have to be careful that, you know, and then I got to put the gaskets back and all that stuff. And so, yes, that's very true. But here in Taiwan, that kind of labor and that kind of stuff is cheap. All right, so getting back to what I was saying about the video. When I I cut the video using the JS1P. So the audio that you're hearing in this upcoming video is the JS1P. So that's the JTS mic, and this new mounting arm that I have is really robust, and I put that mic like, you know, right up here, baby, like right in my face, and I love it. So the next studio stream that I do, you'll be seeing that that new mic mounting arm, and you know, very prominently positioned mic. So let me do this. I'm going to turn off my microphone so you can see this video. And I want to thank David Osaka, because it's a joke actually. The video is a joke. I want to thank David Osaka. I want to thank Jevons from Taiwan, and I want to thank Casper, who's also from Taiwan here, for their help. So here you go. Let me play this. Here you go. And I'm going to turn my mic off right now. Hey everyone, MJ here. Now, you guys know me. I'm not a big self-promoter. I'm just not good at it. I don't really, you know, it's not my thing. But I always wanted to do like this really big introduction. So let me just try this and see what happens, okay? Get all ready here. Okay, here we go. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer in the world. Here he is, MJ Klein. Hey everyone, MJ here. I want to thank you so much for...
You think so?
No, I don't think so. I think you're the greatest live streamer in the world, and I'm actually very sorry I said that. Okay, let's try this again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer in Taiwan. Here he is, MJ Klein. Hey guys, it's MJ. Thank you so much for joining.
MJ? Really? Since when?
Since never, actually. Okay, let's try again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer from Hsinchu, Taiwan. Here he is, MJ Klein. Hey everyone, it's MJ. Thank you so much for joining.
In your dreams, MJ. In your dreams.
Oh, and my dreams are... they're shattered. Okay, one more time. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the greatest live streamer in Hsinchu County, in Hukou Township, in the Hsinchu Industrial Park, in this particular neighborhood, and on this block. Please welcome MJ Klein. And I'm the greatest live streamer in my... Oops. Oh, boy. See? Guess I'm not so great. Just knocked the whole mount down. I'm the greatest live streamer in my own mind, so there you go. So that's what can happen when you get, you know, some live streamers to cooperate. So I'm glad you guys got a kick out of that. That was a lot of fun to make. See, this comes down to, it's really funny. You know, in the business, in radio and in records too, you know, the higher somebody is, I'm going to explain something to you guys, and you may find this surprising. But, you know, some people have a reputation for being hard to deal with, or caustic, or, you know, whatever. Sometimes you could use a, you know, a profane description for this person. Oh, the guy's a real, you know, just insert whatever you want. But those are intermediate people. The people that are really high up, I mean, like, you know, I was on a movie set once, and I was just standing there, and there were a bunch of lights, you know, in my face, and I was standing off to the side. It was a set, a movie set, and I couldn't really see. And all of a sudden, someone came out of the glare right up to me, and said, "Oh, excuse me, sir." It was Margot Kidder. I just said, "Oh, pardon me, Miss Kidder," and I stepped out of the way. But I mean, this Margot Kidder is, if you guys have never met her, she's like, it's like your sister, you know? I mean, she's one of the nicest people that you'd ever want to meet. You know, and you guys heard me talk about Brad Delp from Boston, and, you know, like Tommy Red from Nantucket, and just, you know, virtually every really huge person, you know, on the top of their game, like Todd Rundgren, and these people that I've met, they're all just like you and me. It's the ones that are on the way up, because what they're doing, those are the ones that are the problem, because they're acting the way they think big stars act, and they're not. Because when you get really huge, you want people to treat you normal. That's what you want. The bigger, the higher you get, the more you crave normalcy. You know, and that's really what it is. And so, I just don't deal with people. I refuse to deal with people who are prima donnas and the whole thing. So, hey, Dean, fist bump. You know, if I'm working with somebody on a studio project or whatever, I don't need that. Okay, so you want to be a prima donna or whatever, you want to pull this kind of crap with me? Bye. Because you know what? I'm rich too. I don't need your money. Okay, it's not worth it. Why would I do it? You know. But so you've got people who, and it's not about money, but people who are well known, you know, in like live streaming. And are they approachable or are they not? So, like those guys that you saw in that video that I did, they're 100% approachable, and they're really easy to get along with, and yeah, it's amazing. But everybody knows somebody in every discipline along the line. Somebody is difficult to get along with. Rob, how you doing? Fist bump. Oh. And then, so you don't have to put up with it. Don't patronize their products, right? How you doing, Rob? Listen, Rob, if you're watching, you know, on YouTube, obviously you are, pull the slider back and watch the video that I just played, because I don't want to play it again. So, kind of did a little interesting intro. But what I was getting at was that in the business, there are a couple of people that I know. Like, there's a gentleman named Howard Johnson, and he called himself the original Howard Johnson. Of course, he wasn't, you know, the Howard Johnson from the hotel, you know, industry. But he was the most approachable person that you'd ever want to meet. But this guy was a resource. Like, I mean, this guy had record company contacts. This guy had radio contacts. And Grady introduced him, you know, to me. And The funniest thing that I ever saw was he had a notepad on his desk. Back when people used to write, notes. He actually had a pad of paper specifically made for him. And it said, and I quote, "From the desk of one of the most powerful and influential men in the world, Howard Johnson." And then he would just write stuff below it. And it was so hilarious because he was just a humble guy. It's just so down to earth, So when you hear these guys that are like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest live streamer in the world," kind of thing, it's really a joke for the humble. But there are people out there that think that they are. I mean, if I did an intro, if I did an intro, I'm not going to name any names, but I know at least 2 live streamers that if I wrote background music, it's heavy background thing, and put it, really went, just to the wall with it. "Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the greatest live streamer in the world," and name their name and sent that to them, they would use it because they think they are. If somebody did that for me, I would use it too, but just because it would be a joke. So not the same one. Not the same one. That Howard Johnson, he's been gone for a long time. This is scary. The fact that this message just came in now means that there must be at least a 3-minute lag. Wow. Thanks, Rob. I thought you would appreciate that. I started this stream with that clip, and the way I did it, it made it look like I was broadcasting from the studio. So, but now the cat's out of the bag, but that's okay. I can still use it. Yeah, and that was fun. I love Dave. How he was just typing on his computer and just looked out of the corner of his eye. "You really think so?" And just, that was just, these guys nailed it. Casper had actually sent me, if memory serves, Casper had sent me 3 or 4 clips. I forget. But the one that I use, of course, is the one that I like the most on the train. And if memory serves, Jevin sent me 2, but Dave only sent me 1. He knows what he's doing. So there you go. Dave, I got a concept. Can you give me a clip that's kind of like, sort of like this, and he just gives me one that's perfect. So there you go. So you know what I should do? Because I actually produced a theme song. 30 seconds. That's not too bad. Not too bad. I did a theme song for Casper, but I probably should. In reality, because I said this before. Really, it's not about numbers. It's not about followers and stuff. I just think Dave comes across like he's the most unpretentious, normal, everyday, trustworthy person that you'll ever see on a live stream. That's just my opinion. And you know, he even, like, he's honest about, like, if he makes a mistake or if he goofs something up or whatever, or doesn't know. See, that's the thing. A lot of guys, when they don't know something, they try to BS their way through it, and Dave doesn't do that. He says, I don't know. And so that's what to me makes him the greatest live streamer in the world, is the credibility and the believability. Do you know what I'm saying? Seriously, you guys think about this. If someone asks Dave a question on a live stream and he answers it, do you think he's telling the truth? Do you trust he's telling the truth? I do. I have not known him to ever say anything untrue. And so once you have that kind of credibility, that means more than anything else, than the fluff, you know. So one Dave in Osaka is worth like a bazillion Logan Pauls, okay? I'm going to say that. So there you go. So actually what I should do is I should do a theme song, an introduction, you know, and I'll get the tube mic and I'll, you know, put some nice bottom end on it. Exactly. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. And yeah, I should do it like a nice, really heavy FM. And now, Dave in Osaka. I kind of think so. I should just do that. Thank you. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you. Well, it shows to me, it shows I got 4, but you know, it's a brutal world we live in, and I'm not controversial. I'm not political. And I'm old, so there you go. A lot of stuff, you know, working against me. But the other thing too is you have to be careful how you use this term. But I am transitioning into doing more studio stuff, and I'm not ready to release my new tunes. I'm going to be releasing my new tunes after the first of the year. And I have a specific reason for doing that, and I don't want to reveal that now, but I promise you guys that I will. It's important, and it has to do with legalities of, you know, just my life. So, after I release these tunes, I expect it's going to be, you know, slow taking off, but I expect that the viewership will go up over time. Things may shift from Taiwan Live TV. Things may shift over to Phoenix Media Forge, you know, which is my studio channel. And please, if you guys, I got like 9 followers, okay? Phoenix Media Forge is the, or it's Phoenix Media Forge Studio. That's my my YouTube channel for the studio. Please follow me there, because as I release things, I would like for you guys to be notified, you know, of that. So, but what I do has never been, you know, about sheer numbers. You know what I mean? Numbers are cool. But, you know, this is better. This kind of interaction is better. And the other thing, too, is sometimes I have seen some just incredibly, wildly popular live streamers, and the chat is going like this, and they can't answer anything. So, what I would do is, I promise you guys, if I get really super huge, I'm going to have some people working for me that are going to be looking at the chat and picking out, you know, questions and making sure that I see them. So we'll do that. All right, so we're winding down here, and speaking of Dave in Osaka, let's do this.
Hi, this is Dave in Osaka, live from Greenland, and you're watching Taiwan Live TV with MJ Klein.
Because, you know, nothing says I love you, bro, like being in Greenland on a boat in a field of icebergs and going, I gotta do a bumper just for you.
Hi everybody. You're watching Late Night with MJ Klein on Taiwan Live TV.
Yeah, and you guys follow Kenrod, okay? I got a video I haven't shown in a while. It was taken from, I guess the song that got me the most airplay in the 90s. Let me just play this. I love this. This is cool. I'm going to turn off my mic, though. Let me do this. Let me turn off my mic first. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I got to, let me, okay. I guess I got to do this. To answer your question, I'm not sure what you mean. He just used his mobile phone to record that. I think he handheld it. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. I didn't doctor it at all. That's how he sent it to me, and that video is unedited, unaltered, unadulterated, just the way it is. Yeah, and that's all there is to it. So I don't know what to tell you. Let me do this. I want to show you guys something because we had some amazing Indian food the other day, and I want to show you these dishes. Now this is what they call naan. You know, this is the flatbread. I don't know what the difference is with roti and naan, but this is just the plain. And this is a dish with lamb. I mean, I'm not really sure what is in this because I don't know that much about Indian cuisine except that I like it. And then this was a dish that I had, which is, oh wait a minute, I had this dish today, sorry. This is a dish that I had today. This is Taiwan style noodle mian, which is beef noodle soup. Oh yeah, this was just fantastic. And as I know you guys like these different dishes. And this is smoked pig ear sliced with scallions on top. And I guess what I did is I mixed up the Indian food with the Taiwan food by mistake. Sorry, but I just added these things in here. And so this is, oh sorry, that's another shot of the noodle mian. Now what I need to do is, where is the, hang on, this is taking a second. These two here, these are the ones that I wanted to show you, the other ones too. This is garlic and chili naan. That is the flatbread. I guess it's cooked in a tandoor, but that is garlic, of course, and you can see the hot peppers, the chili peppers. Man, this was like off the charts. And the other thing I want to show you was this. This is a lentil stew. And my goodness, I mean, this was, and I asked them for medium hot, and it was just right in the zone, right where I wanted it to be. It was fantastic. So there you go, guys. That was some of the food that we had this week. And in Taiwan, where we can only eat if we have partitions between us, like in restaurants, right? And so I designed some partitions, but we haven't produced them yet. But look at this. This is like really elaborate with a, oh, it is. It's fantastic. And I mean, look at that aluminum extrusion they have to try to capture these panels. I mean, the stuff, I'm not going to tell you the basis of mine, but the partitions that I designed are significantly easier to manufacture and way easier to put together than this. This thing was like an abomination, you know. So my wife and I are sitting across and kitty corner from each other, and Phoenix is next to me, and you know, so Mike, do you like lamb meat? Do you like lamb? Because I'm not a big lamb guy. I have a problem with lamb, and it's just, I recognize, you know, lamb is good. I mean, it's good meat, solid meat. It's just that, to me, on my palate, it tastes like beef that's gone off. So when I taste lamb, it makes me gag, because I think that it's beef that's rotten. So, of course, I meet people that say, oh, well, you got to try my lamb. I'll make lamb for you. It's okay. Well, I've done that like 40 times. And there's only been one case where I actually ate lamb and sort of enjoyed it. And that was my roommate Colby, who's in the line group, and he sometimes goes by the nickname Cheese Knife. But you've seen Colby. If you've seen Colby in my live streams, he was my roommate, and he cooked the lamb in a Dutch oven. And of course, you know. Oh, okay. Well, I respect that. I would be more than happy, though, to take those steaks from you, and you know, so yeah. Now, they weren't dangerous. They weren't, you know, sharp or anything. But am I a criminal lawyer? No, I'm not even a law-abiding lawyer. And I'm not even a criminal. Well, I would say that Twitch is probably not a good place to find any kind of help, unless you need to know how to hook up, you know, like your Elgato Stream Deck, you know, or how to do like a chroma key for a green screen. Seriously. Yeah, the problem is it takes a lot of water, and you know, in survival situations, Matthew, and you know this, sometimes if you kill like a lizard or some rodent and you want to eat it, but you know you're not going to be able to get like to a water source, if you eat that thing in 3 hours or so, you're going to be like dying of thirst. So yeah. Okay, well, I guess I could just call you Fed. Fed, I'm in Taiwan. So I'm not sure where you are, but that's where we are. So yeah, Rob, I don't know why that is, because my Taiwan friends, you know, used to go to the States, and they would have a hard time finding lamb and duck. But you know, I haven't talked about lamb that much, but duck, I took somebody that I knew from Taiwan, Had only arrived in the States for a couple of weeks, and I said, come here, I want to show you this. And we went to, you know, the poultry section, and there was a duck, and this is like the year 2000, 2001, and there was a duck. The duck was frozen, and it was 25 bucks for a frozen duck. And she looked at me and she said, what is this? This is crazy. Because duck here, you can get, you know, Peking duck, right? Like we say, Beijing Kaoya. I can get a half duck that's been, you know, prepared in the Peking duck style. You know, with the hoisin sauce, with the pancakes, with everything. A half duck, it's like 11 bucks. So, you know. Oh yeah, the garlic mayonnaise. Yep, I hear you. That's, yep, really something. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, J-Boy, do you like buffalo? Because there is a place in New Hampshire that I used to go to that would have like what they called exotic meats, was like mostly like alligator and oyster, yeah, alligator and ostrich. That's what you just, they all begin with O. But we had buffalo, and there's a place also that had buffalo jerky, but you know, jerky is really super expensive. I don't know why. I have a dehydrator, so I go to Costco and I buy a nice cut of meat and I slice it really, really super thin and lay it out in the hydrator, and you know, 6 hours later I got like the best beef jerky. And sometimes I soak it in whiskey. So okay, 2-stringer, yep, can be. If you stew it, you put it in a Dutch oven, you know, and stew it for several hours. It's actually like, you know, fall apart. It's nice. So, what do I understand? Well, not much anymore. I mean, I can still copy Morse code. You know, Mike, it depends on degrees, you know, because I used to be pretty fluent in Russian, and I haven't used it for a long time, you know. When I'm in Thailand and I'm in Laos, there are a lot of things that I know how to say, but of course, always, you know, your comprehension is like this. Excuse me. Your comprehension is like this, but your speaking ability is like this. It's always, you know, like you can understand more. And so the funny thing is, this is really strange, and I don't mind just, you know, going off into that topic. But before I do, J-Boy, if you get a chance to get a piece of buffalo, put it in a Dutch oven over a fire and cook it for like 4 hours. You know, put some potatoes, carrots, onions, whatever you want in there. But that will cure that, you know, that stringy kind of thing, you know, that's going on. It'll break it down. At the Sabua Resort in Muang Pon, which is about 80 kilometers south of Khon Kaen City, it's a resort that, it's not really a resort, it's just a place where Thai people go to have sex without their wives or husbands knowing it. But my friend owned it, and I used to stay there a lot. They had these really cool bungalows, and it was a lot of fun. And the food was good, and it was in a village, you know, and the people were really friendly. And I would go by, you know, like every afternoon about 5 o'clock, I would get a small bottle of Sang Som and a glass, and I would go around and I would pour a drink. I would knock on every door and just pour a drink for everybody in the village. And so they all loved me. I got invited to every party and every barbecue whenever I was there. They're like, hey, let's go get the foreigner, you know, because I made friends with them all, right? But there's a lady we would call Auntie. I just called her Auntie. And she knew, you know, I was from Taiwan, I speak Chinese. So what I would do is I would slowly introduce Chinese words to her. So I started calling her like IE, which is auntie in Chinese, and then she would start recognizing that I was calling her that. So I, IE. And my wife would come with me sometimes, and actually I was going to this place, before we were even married. But in the early days when we were dating, and I guess this is when we were still dating before we were married, I would be at the resort, and she would come like a couple weeks later. And I remember one time Auntie looked up at the moon, and she said in Thai, she said, "The moon is so bright tonight." And my wife said, "I wish I could understand what she said." And I said, "Well, she said the moon is really bright tonight." And my wife's like, "How do you know that?" And I went, "Oh, I don't know." And I found that happening more and more. I found that happening a lot. Where she would use certain phrases with me, and it just clicked in my head. See, people are the same wherever you go. Doesn't matter what color they are. Doesn't matter what their language is or anything. So, Rob, I'll send you an email, okay? I do have a recommendation, and I have a strategy too with that site to get because it's going to cost you, but I have a strategy to get the price down. So I'm glad you asked that. Once you're exposed, and the more you travel, the more you find out that people, all people want is they want security. They want to be happy. They want, cleanliness. They want security. They want their children to be happy and well educated and things. And so once you recognize and you travel around and you stop thinking that, oh, this is a weird culture, or this is a really different culture, and you just focus on the people, and you start hanging out with the people, and they're talking in a different language, all of a sudden you realize, you know what, I have no idea what they just said, but I know what they mean. Well, okay, but I think you can relate to what I'm saying. I had heard somehow the Thai word for moon, and I don't remember what it is now, but I did hear the Thai word for moon. So when she looked up and said that, Thai is not so completely different from Chinese. In fact, the grammar of Thai is identical to Chinese. And there are a number of words that are the same. For example, the word for tall or high is gao, and that's the same in Thai. And the other word that's the same for Thai that I know is tan, which means it's the word you use for charcoal, but it also means carbon, because really charcoal is carbonous wood. So I was able to just say, I would give uncle, which is Auntie's husband, I would give uncle 300 baht, and so that's 300 baht in Thai. 300 is 300. 300 baht, and I would say 300 baht tan, and that would mean I would like for him to go to where they sell the charcoal and get me 300 baht worth of charcoal. And so over time, I learned a couple of the words that were in common with Chinese. And so the funny thing is, a lot of Thai words sound exactly like Chinese, but they're not the same thing. For example, 1 January, and I have video of this, and I've never shown it. I actually should process this video and show this guys to you. But 1 January, this This was January, then my wife and I were married in April. January of the year that my wife and I were married, we were in this village, in this resort in Mongpon. It's called Sabua. Sabua. If you look at, if you do a search on this, you guys, okay, I want you to do a search on this, okay? Do a search on this, and you'll find something. Do a search on Sabua Resort, okay? And you're gonna find all like blog stuff for me. It's all about me, because I'm the one that started blogging on the Sabua Resort back in 2006. So we were at the Sabua Resort in January, and it was actually pretty cold. For Thais, it was like really cold. And what they would do is they would take sticky rice and they would grab it with their hands, and they would make basically what looked like a hamburger patty shape of sticky rice. And they would dip it in an egg wash. That's where you take, you know, an egg in a bowl and you beat the egg, and then they would just dip it in the bowl, and you know, and then they would grill that on top of the grill. That video that I'm talking about is actually on Vimeo, now that I think about it. If you search Sabua Resort on Vimeo, you might find that. But they kept saying Kao Ji, like that. And that was the Thai word for this grilled patty of sticky rice with the egg wash. But Kao Ji in Chinese means grilled chicken. So there were a lot of things in Thai language that I would hear, and I was hearing Chinese, but they were saying Thai words, and I had to fix it so the meaning was different. For example, so I never went to Phuket, but I've been to Chonburi, which is the, you know, the province that Phuket's in. I didn't want to go to Phuket because it was like, you know, where foreigners go. I don't like to go to places where other foreigners go, especially, you know, hedonistic places. But 1988, Phuket was a lot different. Actually, 1988 was about the time I had a friend of mine named Ken Tran, who was Cambodian born Chinese, and he actually told me if I wanted to meet a woman, I don't know why he told me that I was married, I should go to Phuket. And he told me that in 1998. It's really funny. He said they call it the Love Island. But like, for example, Hong Nam. Now, Nam is a word in Thai that means water. Hong Nam means restroom, but Hong in Chinese means red. And so I was always, yeah, I know. That's kind of why I moved the camera a little bit. So, yeah. I realize I never really answered your question, Mike. But I guess, like, you know, I'm fluent in English. I'm an intermediate speaker in Chinese. I'm fluent in Morse code, which is just English. I actually am pretty good in Russian Morse code, but again, it's been a long time. But you know, when I hear Russian on TV or in movies, I get like a couple words here and there. If I go to Thailand, I can interact with a lot of people. So I guess what I'm saying is maybe there are 4 or 5 languages where I have, let's just put it this way, there are 4 or 5 languages where I have a non-trivial working knowledge of them. Let's just put it that way. And the truth is too, if you live in a place, you know, like Florida, excuse me, or Texas, you pretty much know Spanish. Because I have a friend here named Miguel, right? He's from California, but he's Mexican. And he was saying all the Spanish stuff to me one time, and all these Spanish foods, and I don't know what they are. And so I told him, sorry man, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, you're from America, right? And I went, yeah, but I'm from Boston, not California. And he's like, oh, okay, so. Well, thanks, yeah. That's, to me, is the universal language. That's it. Yeah. But I promise you that after the first of the year, we're gonna have some new MJK music, and it's I'm really happy with a lot of what's going on, because I'm going back in time. See, I had a really good situation where I moved to Boston when I was 22, and we formed a band, and we traveled around, and by the time I was 23, I had my first production deal with a studio. So a lot of the stuff that I wrote back then got recorded, you know, and not everybody has that opportunity. A lot of songwriters go through their whole life, they don't record anything. They just write a bunch of stuff, they never have a chance to record it, or they, you know, record it on their DAW on their PC, you know, with an interface, and they don't know what they're doing. It's okay. But I'm talking about where I went, you know, professional studios. Anyway, so but there are a number of songs that I never recorded, and I still remember them. So I am doing modern versions of some of these 70s songs, and they're turning out, in my opinion, pretty cool. Yeah, and so you guys know where I'm coming from. So if I say they're pretty cool, you know, I mean, yeah. So you know what level that is. But I'm having a blast with it. So I'm laying down, what I'm doing is I'm laying down these music beds for all these tunes. So all I have to do is go back and finish the vocals, and they're done. Which means if I have 12 or 14 or 15 songs that are between 75 or say 80%, let's just say 75% finished, then I only need a week to do the rest of it, mix it and master it, and then I can upload it to the distribution company, so I can, you know, follow up like every 2 or 3 weeks. That's the whole thing. That's why I did that, because I didn't want to, you know, put out a tune and then take 6 months to put out another tune. I've basically taken 3 years and have significantly upgraded my studio technology. I started out with just, you know, a standalone recorder. Now I've got I have 2 mixing consoles and a Dante audio network, and I've got full automation on my mixing console. And so, yeah, even though it's been 3 years, the stuff that I did, you know, early on, yeah, I know, I was lucky, but it's partially because my mom was in the music business, you know. It's just normal for me. Sometimes people can't relate to it, but if you grow up in a musical family, it's what you do. But anyway, so I've been building these tunes up and getting them all like around the same level, and I'll get a tune finished all the way except for the vocals, and then I'll move on to the next one, because I'll do the vocals later and I'll just knock them out. And that's what I used to do in the old days. and I would knock the vocals out like in one night. You know, maybe 12 background vocal tracks and 2 or 3 lead vocal tracks, and that's what you do. But yeah, my mom was a recording artist in the 50s, and I grew up watching her on TV and listening to her on radio, and I'd play clubs with her on the weekend and stuff. And so this was normal. And the interesting thing is, gosh, we're getting into a section that I just hate. How come when Junior comes home from school one day and he goes, "Dad, I want to be a guitar player," why does Dad say, "Okay, just make sure you have something to fall back on"? Why? You think I'm going to be unsuccessful, huh? If Junior comes home and says, "Dad, I want to be a doctor, I want to go to medical school," does Dad go, "Be sure you got something to fall back on"? "Dad, I want to be a lawyer, I want to go to law school." Yeah, you better have something to fall back on. "Dad, I want to be a mechanical engineer, and I think I can get into MIT and get a mechanical engineering degree from MIT." Yeah, you better have something to fall back on. Why do parents do this? I came home one day with the 1954 Les Paul that I told you guys about, and my father said, "Son, I finally understand you want to play." Gee, thanks, Dad. After what, the 17 instruments we had growing up, and Mom being a recording artist and stuff. What are you, stupid? Yeah, you are. Yep, you are. And I'm 10 times the engineer that you are. Never recognized it. And now he's dead. Anyway. Don't do that to your kids. Better have something to fall back on, because I'm expecting you to fail. Musicians make good money. And I gotta tell you something. Sucky musicians don't. So yeah, if your kid wants to have a career in music, he's only going to need something to fall back on if he sucks. Because if he's good, he'll get bookings. Because an agent will book him. Because I know, because I had agents bugging me all the time. That's how it is. So yeah, I mean, we're making $100,000 a year, back in 1978. So come on. Hey, Toshi, how you doing, man? Yeah, Sunday morning there. Fist bump to you. Good to see you. Hey, I still owe you a reply. Toshi sent me some emails. It's cool, man, and I appreciate it. I still owe you a reply for the last one. I appreciate it. But seriously, my daughter has my ears, and she's got my musical ability. I know she does. I see it. I recognize it. She's telling me she wants to play guitar, and she wants me to start to. She wants me to teach her, vocals. Do I read to Phoenix? Mike, I read to her in Mommy's belly. Oh yeah, I read to her a lot, and we talk about stuff a lot, and we study together. And we study the Bible together, too, because I'm trying to give her a moral sense. I'm trying to give her some moral compass, so she does read to me, and she's reading a lot. She reads in English and in Chinese. It's amazing. She can even type in Chinese. She's 8 years old. It's incredible. My daughter is so much more advanced for her age than I was, and she makes me feel stupid, and I've said that to her. I mean, I openly state this, but she is so far advanced. But even on school holidays, she has to do a certain amount of Chinese, English, math, and science. You know, she doesn't get the summer off to just goof off. She has to keep up with these things so she can cruise into, you know, the next school year without having such a, you know, a shock of all of a sudden, oh, now I gotta straighten up. You know, she's never really gets out of the learning mode, so that was the goal. So, all right, guys, listen, I gotta go. It is it's 1:06 local time. So you guys take care. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the little. Thank you very much, Toshi, and I hope you guys enjoy the little video that I did at the beginning. Now I want to show you something. I sat down on this bench, and there was a doll here. This doll is disturbing. This doll was sitting at the bench. I mean, what do you think of this? I don't even want to take this back and give it to Phoenix. I mean, probably some kid will pick it up tomorrow, but I mean, this is just like, I guess it's supposed to be a mask, but whoa. No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Fist bump to everybody. I can't name everybody that's here, and maybe even Coco might be lurking and not not commenting. But you guys take care, and thank you so much. And I love all of you guys, and I really appreciate, you know, you even thinking enough of me to pay attention to my ramblings. See you guys during the week next week, and take care, and I hope everything goes your way, and just use common sense. Don't worry about what people say. Wear your mask if you want to. Just be prudent, you know, and the course of wisdom. So, you guys take care. Here's the big finger. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Taiwan Live TV. Bye-bye. That was fantastic. Thank you so much.